Now, you were one of the first congressmen to oppose the Obamacare. You also bucked the party. You bucked President Bush in opposing TARP 1 and TARP 2. Can you give us a little more insight on that?
Well, I've always stood for what I thought was right. And when we first had the issue with Fannie and Freddie, I was the first member to speak out and say, this is wrong. Taxpayers should not be bailing out Fannie and Freddie. Then when the first TARP came up, I stood up and said it is wrong. It is not the right thing to do to support bailouts. I have opposed every bailout, every stimulus, whether it's cash for clunkers or Fannie and Freddie, TARP 1, TARP 2, whether it was a President Bush or President Obama. If it's not the right thing to do, I'm not going to do it. So I've got a very strong record in this respect.
So I'm here in D.C. and I'm hearing that you're referred to as being one of the members of the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah.
That's a movie? 1950s?
It was a movie, but no, there was an article that was written, and I'm one of 12 members that stood up against our own Republican leadership when it came to raising the debt ceiling and all of these what I would consider still big government solutions. We're looking for a limited government. So the article is where the Dirty Dozen and the thorn in Boehner's side, and as I think I've said to you before, there's I would hope that most people up here would want me to stay, but there are a few people who will be happy that I'm gone out of the House, and one of them, Speaker Boehner, because I have been a thorn in his side. Because I think we have to stand up and do what's right, whether it's a Republican administration or leadership or Democrat administration and leadership.
One of your colleagues in Congress from Florida, Congressman Allen West, has recently said that he fears a Venezuelan nuclear missile crisis is on the horizon. You've been outspoken against Venezuela. You've actually stated that the U.S. should categorize Venezuela as a state sponsor of terrorism. Pretty strong rhetoric. You want to explain yourself there?
It's not rhetoric. It's reality. So Hugo Chavez has supported the FARC. We know we have got computers where there is communications between Chavez and his government and the FARC, which is a terrorist organization. We know that there are flights coming in from Iran that are undocumented that come into Venezuela. We know that all of the drug flow in and out of Latin America goes through Venezuela. There is a strong tie to terrorism, and for 6 years now I've been fighting to try to put Chavez on the state sponsor of terrorism because he deserves it and he's earned it, and it's the right thing to do. I'll continue to do that. I welcome Allen West to this issue because Allen is a strong voice for freedom and democracy. But this has been an issue that I've been dealing with for 6 or 7 years. If we put him on the state sponsor of terrorism list, we can pass the Keystone XL pipeline. We can stop buying oil from Hugo Chavez. The only other place he can sell that oil is China, and the only way to get to China is through the Panama Canal. If he's on the state sponsor of terrorism list, he can't ship oil through the Panama Canal. And so if you want to look at it one way, it's checkmate with Hugo Chavez.
And in that regard, if he's on the list of state sponsored countries of terrorism, he can't receive any funding from the U.S., any aid.
That's right. And I'm the chair of the Western Hemisphere Subcommittee on Foreign Affairs. I have defunded the OAS, the Organization of American States, which is a small UN. I have stripped funding from any country that opposes the United States. We've continued to fight for freedom and democracy in Latin America. I'll continue to do that either for my remaining time in the House and when I get to the Senate.
Congressman Connie Mack, thanks for jumping in the Shark Tank.
Absolutely. Watch out for those bottlenose dolphin.